Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to replace the AC condenser in my 2015 GMC Sierra. I try to be as detailed as possible and showing some things that you probably likely won't see in other videos. Should really help you get through it if you're doing this job on your own. Let's get right to it. All right, first things first, you got to pull out all these clips, pull off this panel. Then I'm going to get the intake out of the way. And then there's some screws in another panel. We'll get this out of the way, and then we'll assess the situation from there. Obviously, the intake removal will be different for everyone depending on if you have stock intake or something else. But regardless, it's pretty basic knowledge to handle. Alright, next in line is to get this upper support off, and then this plastic shroud here. So there should be, I believe, 3 bolts under here, one on each side of the radiator, a few under there, a 10mm you have to remove from the washer fluid container. You have to remove both these brackets, or at least one side of them, and the hood latch. So I'll get going on that, and I will show you anything I find that looks difficult. Don't clean off these marks, leave it dirty. Helps you know where to put it back to so your hood aligns properly. We'll pull back this plastic piece here. Got some more of them little plastic clips. That way you can access under there to find the other 13mm bolts. I don't know if you can see that, but there's one of our 13mm bolts right there, and this is all right under here. Got my finger on the 13. That might be a 13 as well, and then there's another one in there somewhere, I don't know yet. I believe it goes straight in. We'll find that when we get to it. To help through here, you can actually see the top of the back side of one of the bolts inside here. You gotta go underneath there, it goes up from the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there we go. Right under my thumb there. Third one, gonna be a bitch to get to. It's directly behind our window washer fluid container. I'll let you know what I come up with to do that. I think I'm just gonna pull this battery tray, this extra battery tray. It's just 510s, 710s, geez. And then see what happens. I think I might be able to unbolt the washer fluid and move it out of the way more, because I don't have any tools that are gonna, I can get on it, but I'm not gonna be able to move it. Look at that, one of them bolts are actually for that. Already giving it a lot more room. I'm still gonna go ahead and pop this thing out of here. After digging in further, that tray doesn't come out as easy as it appears. I wouldn't bother trying to take it out, but I would definitely undo some of the bolts because it loosens up your washer fluid bottle. Makes it, gives a little bit more room for access. So now I'll be able to find a tool that'll fit in there. Little handy 10mm gear wrench. Slide it in this direction. Feel up in there. You can grab it. It'll give you enough room to work that way out. Well, if you take your extension, a little wobbly, it's actually a little bit easier to go down in between the radiator and the coolant, or the washer container, and you can reach right up in there and get a little bit better swing on it than using the little wrench. That's loose now. Straight in here. Get your little stop here for your hood. It's just to the right of that, approximately right here. This is the first one. Seems like there's more access, so it shouldn't be as hard to get to that third one, hopefully. One down. This third one's way easier to get to than the other side. So the first one I said was right here. Second one was about here. The third one's about right here. Number 3. This should be loose. Alright, if I got everything disconnected as I thought I did, it should come right out. I said this thing should come right out. It's just a tight fit. It'll come out of there if you work on it a little bit. I used my pry bar to just kind of pop it over this lip right here a little bit, and once I did that, it came right off. Next order of business is taking off this plastic shroud right here. Just held on by little clips right here. Pull back on them, it pops right up. The other side will come off the same. We got that out of the way. And now we can actually see our AC condenser. I kind of like to start at the top and work my way down. So I'm going to disconnect this line here first. And underneath that, the condenser is in a little bracket holding it to the radiator that I can pop it out of. And then go to the other side. I should have a line that's the same right here. Now these right here, these lines, they can come off in two different ways. So if you pop off this cover here, this little protective grommet, right under here, there's a little spring that holds it on, because that presses in and that spring locks it into place. I don't know if you can see in there. Or you can just unbolt this and take the whole thing off, which that's what I'm going to try to do first. Obviously you need to decharge your system however you choose to do it, but in my case my system already decharged itself, so not too worried about that. To me it looks like it's probably a 17. So that's going to be a 19, which I don't seem to have a 19 open-ended wrench. So I'm using a 3/4, which is basically the same thing. These seal good, they're not super tight, so you don't have to crank on them too hard when you put them back on. Just make sure it's locked down good and tight. You know, that good old torque spec good and tight. It's more accurate than people think if you know what size nuts and bolts you're working with. Obviously I would never use it on a head or something along those lines, but for most everything on this job, pulling out a torque wrench would be pretty ridiculous. We have another fun 10mm bolt straight down there. You can see how I got onto it. Fit my little 1/4" ratchet in there with the 10 and have a 3" extension. Probably be easier if you had one that was about a 1/4" shorter, but this one seems to be working for me. Just a little bit at a time. Failed to mention that's holding one of the pressure lines from the AC condenser to the radiator. If you look right down here, you can see where the pressure line bolts up, and it appears to be from there a solid line that does not disconnect from the condenser. If I took the time to pull the new one out of the box and look, I'd know, but either way, I think I'm gonna have to disconnect that, which should be pretty easy for me since my fender wells are kind of cut out since this is a lifted truck. Should be able to get right up in there and get that thing out of there. After I get this 10mm bolt out, I will climb under the truck and show you what I see from there. So right here's what I was referring to. Got one nut holding on there in the middle, and then that whole thing should separate. And then I believe, other than a couple clips, that condenser should be about ready to pull out. Looks like it's on a long stud, so I don't think this socket's going to work. Be right back with a longer socket. It's a 13. You see how I got on it there? Go ahead and remove that. Lines out. That lines out. And it's dripping on me. So the next thing we're gonna do, these right here, if you push in on the top two, this bracket right here on the condenser should slide up and past it. It's kind of just holding it in a little V on the bottom, and this top piece locks it in. So you press those in. I'm going to grab my pry bar and press them in, then I lift on the condenser at the same time, and the thing should start to slide out. So it's loose now. Just took my pry bar. Gonna push there and lift up on the condenser. Unfortunately, I gotta set you down. It's loose, but I'm caught up on something over there. I'm sure it's that line that I just unbolted. It's catching right there under that frame piece. So I'm sure that looks like if I little bracket here, this bracket right here can be moved around, aim it backwards, actually can be popped off of there. And then if I lift the whole thing, it's just going to take a little bit of finagling. So give me a second here. I can't hold the camera and do this, but you can see there's just that line down there catching on the stub of the radiator. I just need to get this thing in the right angle. Other than that, everything is loose on this thing, and it should be coming right out. So one more second. There we have it. So I know this just poured out of here, but this and this paint have been obviously coming off for some time. So I'm guessing that somewhere under this plastic here is where we had our little leak at. Somehow I got a little bit of that shit in my mouth and it tastes disgusting. Don't do that. But regardless, I'm thinking it was leaking somewhere under there. We're gonna go ahead and grab the new one. Hopefully it matches up perfectly, and start the reversal procedure, the install. Well, this isn't good. This isn't gonna work. You can see that's completely bent in. See how that one goes straight up and down, 90-degree angle. All kinds of damage on this. Look at the angle on that thing. It's Tahoe pretty good. So sometimes you get what you pay for on Amazon. So I already put in for a return on that one. You see the box was damaged right here, and they taped it all up. That is what it is. O'Reilly's has one in stock. It's going to cost me a little bit more money. So on my way to O'Reilly's. Thinking we might have a little bit better luck with this one. Box looks a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and get it out and get this moving on. Feeling a heck of a lot better about this one. Wasn't much more either. Only about $15 more than the one off Amazon. They wanted like $200 for it, but I used a buddy of mine's account. It cost me about $110. So quality's there, as far as I can tell. Pretty happy. I'll get to swapping the parts over. Plastic pieces, like so. And then we'll get to the installation process. Probably gonna move a little faster on the installation process. Everything to install it is reverse of taking it apart, so it's pretty self-explanatory at that point. This video is already going to be a lot longer than it needs to be, so if we're into any struggles or anything, I'll make sure to include you guys, and let's get to putting this thing back together. I'm gonna go check on the puppy because he's getting pissed. New condenser comes with this stud for that bottom bracket that I got from below. I would leave it off till you get it back in. It's going to make it a heck of a lot easier for you to slide this thing back down. The bottom has a couple little hooks that this is supposed to align and set in. Let it come off the radiator. Make sure you get them in there. And you push down, and those top clips will hold her in place. The bottom one in first. Top one's got the little bracket that holds the bottom one and the top one in. Once you slide the top one in there, and you take your stud, it's a lot easier to get that all together with the stud out. Put the stud in. Should thread in pretty easy. Just all the way till it stops. It's good enough. Grab your nut that you originally took off. I pray that it's the same thread as the stud they provided, which it is. And that one was a 13, we found out. So this comes included with this piece. Since I decided to cheat and leave mine on, still carefully remove the O-ring off the old one and put it on the new one. And the next steps are going to be putting that in there, doing the same over there. Then after that, we'll be putting that shroud back on, top core support piece, and everything else. My camera's about to die, so I'm going to go throw it on the charger, and I'll catch up with you wherever I'm at that point. Well, it's all put back together. Sorry I didn't bring you guys through most of that, but like I said, it was the process backwards, and it was a lot easier going back together. Whole job took me probably 3 hours, and that was with going to O'Reilly's, and it was less than an hour going back together. So everything there, new ones in there. Now I just got to go pick up some R134A from a friend that I found that has some, and recharge this thing, and hopefully it'll be good. So I'll be right back. Went ahead and bought myself a that lighting's horrible. A vacuum pump and AC manifold gauge kit. First time I've ever used one, but it seems pretty self-explanatory. Hooked up the low and the high pressure, which are right next to each other on the truck. You can't get them wrong, they only fit one way. Got the gauges. Go ahead and open these. I'm going to pull a vacuum on the system and pray that, oh, these open to the right, not to the left, so they're already open. Pray that I don't have a leak and the problem was fixed. But I guess we will find out now. Put that on. Let's go ahead and open the high pressure side. Open the negative. I want to have this down to like 30 or so. Let it run for a while so it sucks out any moisture, and then we'll close those off and we will see if it holds vacuum. So I'm gonna let this run for a little bit and I'll be right back, and we'll find out together if this thing has no leaks. Okay, it's been long enough. We're gonna go ahead and shut these valves, turn off the pump, cross our fingers and hope that it stays down there around 30. I'm gonna have to leave it for, I don't know, give it like 20-30 minutes. If it's still holding pressure, I'll be happy. It's been a half hour and we're still holding vacuum, so I'm gonna go ahead and let the turn the vacuum back on just to make sure we get all the moisture out as much as possible for a little bit, and then we'll recharge it with some of these little cans that I came across from a buddy. I don't have the adapter to connect the manifold gauges to the cans, but I do have the old school deal here that will work. I'll just use that and hopefully we have AC. Alright, everything's disconnected and I got the can ready. I'm gonna fire up the truck. You guys don't know how excited I am to finally have AC back in this truck. I love driving this car. It's beautiful, it's fun, but I hate putting too many miles on it. And I also love my truck. So obviously it's filthy right now. I don't even know if you can see good in there. But I also have some other things coming up for it in a couple of the next videos. If you look back in the shop area there's a couple boxes, a little sneak peek. Those big boxes are all for this truck. So I'm going to fire it up. We'll go ahead and hook up the refrigerant, turn on the AC, charge it. adapter cracked right here. So hopefully I can pull this one off. Stick on this other one I have without wasting the whole can. Well, I have 2 other cans, but wish me luck. This shit is cold. I don't think we wasted it all. So I don't think the one can will do it, but pretty soon you should hear the AC compressor kick on if everything's working still. There it is. Kicked on with the one can. I don't know exactly. Ooh, should have started leaking. I don't know exactly how much this is supposed to hold. It doesn't, you know, it tells you what type, but it doesn't say. I guess I can Google it. It's showing good. Just a little bit more. Let's see if it's cold. In the green, the lower part of filled, and it's blowing cold, very ice cold. Super happy about that. I'm gonna save the other can just because I know I don't want to waste a whole can just to top it off a little bit when it's in the operable range. So I'll save that other can because they're impossible to get here in Washington. Some bullshit rules. Other than that, we have a success. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content here, please like and subscribe. I'm pretty new at making these videos and I'm trying my hardest. This video took way too long to get out. It's actually been months. I've dealt with some family issues and relationship issues, and now all that stuff's taken care of, so it's time to move on, start making some new videos. If you like it, I have a lot more content to come on this truck and other vehicles. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed.